Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam, devotees. So this is to continue with questions and answers. There was a question written about a statement that was made by Srila Gurudev. Actually, someone asked the question that if only a moment's association, lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy, if only a fraction of a second can give all perfection to someone when they associate with a sadhu, how is it that many devotees, I'm paraphrasing this question because again, sometimes the questions are written so long. So giving the gist of the question. So why is it that many devotees who are associated with pure devotees, our Srila Prabhupada or other pure devotees, maybe did not get bhakti or seemingly did not get bhakti, though they spent significant time in association of pure devotees? So Srila Gurudev had given the answer that they did not want it. That was his answer to the question. So in the body of the question of the person who wrote to ask me, they were saying, well, even if a person doesn't want it because by nature the living entities are not really trained, so to speak, in their conditioned state to really want bhakti. But isn't it true that the power of the pure devotee changes that? So that's the gist of the question. So Srila Gurudev's answer that those who may have had association with a pure devotee but seemingly did not get bhakti was because they did not want it, means that the avenue to obtaining bhakti is a two-way street. Because Bhagavan does not force the jiva. This is clearly mentioned in Jaiva Dharma, in the 15th and 16th chapters of Jaiva Dharma, that free will is given to the jiva to allow the jiva to make the choice to serve Bhagavan. That free will is part of the samagri or the ingredients of prem, and it's a very valuable ingredient. Sometimes free will is misinterpreted as swatantrata, which means a complete independence. And the jiva doesn't have that complete independence. Some people have given the argument that by free will, you can fall out of the spiritual world and all these sort of things. But free will doesn't mean swatantrata or independence. It means the ability to express love for God. That's the essential function of free will. So if a person does not, either due to their conditioning or any other reason, they don't express the full desire. Even sometimes it could be that a person has a notion. A notion is different from a genuine desire. And a genuine desire is different from greed or transcendental lobe. So somebody may have a notion for various reasons, like the 4 reasons given in Bhagavad Gita. Someone is in distress, someone is looking for wealth, or material advancement, someone is inquisitive, or someone may have previous impressions from previous lives, and therefore Ganicha, they have some understanding and therefore taken to the process of bhakti and picked up the association of a pure Vaishnava. But it is not that every single person who comes in contact with a pure Vaishnava, even if they go through the external features or the apparent association with the Vaishnava, genuinely internally wants pure bhakti. It could be any of the 4 things that were mentioned, especially 3 things. People are in distress, people are in search of, it says artha. Artha here means like economic development, but that can also be equated with their own search for personal happiness, because people consider by obtaining wealth, they'll become happy. So artha here also means the search for personal happiness, even if it doesn't directly mean the obtaining of money. But it means the obtaining of a condition under which you can feel materially happy and peaceful and so forth and so on. So because people have these mixed motives, it is not that everyone associating with a pure Vaishnava has the intention of getting pure bhakti, right? Because by definition, bhakti is anya abhilasita sunya. It is void of any other desire except the desire to obtain bhakti. And even in the deepest sense of the meaning of this verse, it doesn't mean the obtaining of bhakti for my pleasure. So I want to obtain bhakti because by obtaining bhakti, I'll be freed from suffering. Because by obtaining bhakti, I'll be happy in the association of Krishna. Because by obtaining bhakti, then I will go to a place where I can live eternally and everything will be perfect and happy. So this is not anya abhilasita sunya. So because the intrinsic quality of that verse is stated in the next line, anukulyena Krishna anusilanam, that all of the silana means the endeavors, they're done for the pleasure and the anukul of Krishna, means Krishna's happiness. Atma sukhe dukkhe gopyon na kare vichar. Like the gopis, they never considered their own happiness or distress. So this is the real meaning of pure bhakti. So if that does not become instilled in the association of a Vaishnava, that mood, then it's really not that everybody associating with a pure devotee necessarily wants pure bhakti. Maybe they don't understand what pure bhakti is. Perhaps they have a corrupted idea of what is bhakti. And that conflated with their own material desires or subtle material desires doesn't allow them to fully get the perhaps sense of being in the association of a pure devotee and imbibing from them pure bhakti. The pure devotee is not in want for giving pure bhakti. By their harikatha, by their example, by their association, even being around them, all of the Swarup Shakti, which is imbued in their hearts, reaches out to touch the jiva. But if the jiva maintains any vaimukkhata or any inclination to look away from Bhagavan grossly or subtly, then it may not be that bhakti emanating from the pure Vaishnava will find entrance into the deep recesses of the heart of that person. And therefore, if material influences rise up again in the heart of that person, they very well could be overwhelmed, especially if any aparad is committed, but also just simply due to weakness of heart, which Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur analyzed in Madhurya Kanda, meaning as Hridoya Dubalya. Means either people are duplicitous, they may become envious, and like this. So if these things arise, it could be that, pure bhakti just will not find, entrance into that person's heart. So it is not that simply by physical proximity to a pure devotee or being tenured in the group of the pure devotee that is concomitant or equated with getting pure bhakti. That's not the case. So what does it mean to have the desire for pure bhakti? So obviously that means to first understand what pure bhakti is. So there should be a deep study of the verse Anyabhilasita sunyam jnana karamadya navitam anukulina krishnanu silanam bhaktir uttam. So we should know what is uttama bhakti and look at the commentaries of the acharyas on this verse. Try to understand it deeply in the association of pure Vaishnava, and then see where on the scale am I currently in relation to that understanding of pure bhakti. And then also, if I don't have a genuine desire at this point for pure bhakti, but I have a notion for it, how can I increase my desire? So obviously the process of bhajan, and I think I've spoken about this so many times, and I'm repeating really, I'm not speaking it myself, I'm repeating the conceptions of our acharyas, that the bhajan process is the means of gaining desire. If consistency in something is not a valid means of instilling a desire, the entire advertising industry in the material world wouldn't be what it is. The consideration is that if a person hears enough times and gets enough of an impression from a particular slogan, visual, etc., then their desire for that thing will increase. So certainly that is also the case in spiritual desire. If by practicing bhajan life means Harinam in particular, also the Swarup of Harinam is Harikatha, so you must hear Harikatha so that Harinam will become living, dynamic for us. Because Harinam, if it becomes the repetition of the akshar of the name of, akshar means letters of the name of Bhagavan, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, like this, then we'll have a sense of a mechanical sense of being purified. And the purification is not by a impersonal dynamic related to chanting Hare Krishna. When I chant this, the sound is pure, therefore I'm becoming pure because the sound is pure. It's not that. What happens is that as we're chanting Hare Krishna, with understanding the Swarup of Harinam, which is Harikatha, this is why we're among the 5 elements besides Nam Kirtan is Bhagavat Shravan. By hearing the Harikatha of Bhagavan, the Swarup of Harinam becomes manifest. And it is the Swarup of Harinam which purifies the jiva. Namabhas, Namaparad, Namabhas can remove sins. There's no doubt, it's mentioned. What is it? Asesha Hagam Haram Vidu. Vaikuntha Nama Asesha Agam. Vaikuntha Nama Asesha Agam Haram Vidu. That the holy name, even the Abbas of the holy name, can remove unlimited amounts of sin. But the pure desire for prema bhakti won't come simply because sins are removed. So it's not that some mechanical relationship with chanting will give that. But a sambandha gyan with nami means the possessor of the name. Because abhinatvam nama namyo. So that person who's the possessor of the name, relation with that Krishna, with Srimati Radhika, with Sriman Mahaprabhu, with their agency or their agent who is Sri Guru. The relation is what gives purification and pure desire for obtaining prema bhakti. You understand? So it's not the mechanic. That's why Rupa Goswami warned against niyamagraha, right? The idea of rote or ritualistic practice of bhakti, because it does not give the fruit of bhakti. So it's important to have relation. And the only way that relation comes is when, in the association of a pure devotee, the practice of bhajan takes on a living dynamic. And that happens when we look at the process of bhajan as a manifestation of Bhagavat Shakti. That is the nature of Bhagavan's kripa coming into the heart. And that not only purifies the heart, that's only a byproduct, because we just mentioned Namabhas can do that, right? But what happens is that actually the depositing of Swarup Shakti in increments is what's happening. That Swarup Shakti reveals Bhagavan in incremental stages. The natural revelation of Bhagavan in the heart gives rise to a deeper sense of desire. Eventually that desire at the stage of ruchi becomes low. Tat tat bhava adi madhure shruti dirapekshate nasa sastana yuktingscha ta lovat utpatti lakshanam. So in the stage of ruchi, genuine greed arises. And then that greed becomes crystallized. Tasya tadrasa, tatra tadrasa surakaraka, no, wait. Tasya tadraka, tasya tadrasa surakaraka basa samula sita ridoya spartikamani. This verse I'm looking for. So here it's mentioning that as ruchi becomes more progressive, it takes the form of Sudakaraka bhas, means an abhas of the mood of a particular associate of Bhagavan. Sumalasita, the heart becomes illumined by deep greed for that mood of that eternal associate. Ridoya Spatikamani means the heart becomes crystal-like. So it means the heart at this stage, after Anatanivriti, Nishta has come, now ruchi has come, and now in this intensified form of ruchi, the heart being crystallized can absorb the particular mood of a particular associate. And a deep greed comes for that. When that greed further intensifies, it becomes a Shakti. Because ruchi or greed has different evolutions. So one evolution is, first there's attachment to bhajan itself. Because bhajan has been the process by which these things were realized. So attachment to nam, attachment to bhajan life becomes deep. Then attachment to bhajaniya, the object of the bhajan. And when that happens, that stage is called asakti. Understand? And then from asakti, the depth of the desire becomes intensified to the degree that only the kripa of Bhagavan can satisfy that desire. At that point, receiving the kripa of Bhagavan and Sri Guru, then Swarup Shakti descends in part, right? Sura Sattva Visheshatma Prem Suryangsa Samyavak. So like a ray of the sun of Prem descends and melts the chitta with intensified desire, because we've been talking about desire all this time. Ruchi bish chitta masrinya. Right? The chitta masrinya means it melts due to the influence of abhilas, ruchi, taste, in a desire to serve Bhagavan in a particular way. First, it manifests as a desire for the association of Bhagavan, then the desire to render favorable service according to that mood, and the desire for the nature of intimacy, right? Intimate service to Bhagavan. It's called Sohara Dabilas, right? So this is how the natural progression of a notion becomes desire, desire becomes genuine lobe, lobe becomes intensified for the process of bhajan, then it becomes further intensified for the object of bhajan, which is called asakti, and then that is the stage in which one is ready to receive, by the genuine nature of their greed and desire, ready to receive a partial manifestation of Swarup Shakti and to obtain the stage of Bhav Avast, right? So the original point being that just by associating with a pure devotee does not guarantee that. There has to be an inner desire on the part of the person, and desires generally come about from being informed about something. That's a big part of it. Like, again, I'll go back to the mundane material example, that the advertising agency informs you, there is a new car, it has these features, it looks like this, it goes fast. Here's a whole scene which we'll design to make you get a vision of what you would look like in the car. So even if you're 500 pounds and so forth and so on, they'll put a 200-pound gym specimen in the vehicle with their hair blowing in the wind and the model next to them. So you, no matter what you look like, right, you can envision yourself being in that mode, right? Because it's creating the desire. So in the same way, in a transcendental sense, in a pure sense, by hearing Harikatha and chanting Harinam and doing other elements of bhajan practice in a living way, living dynamic way, then the true desire arises in the heart. So now being in association of a pure devotee with genuine desire, it has a different kind of effect. Any association with a pure devotee is going to give sukriti. But that sukriti becomes mature, right, when we genuinely pick up the association of a pure Vaishnava, which means samyak rupain anugamana. This is the meaning of the word sadhu sangha. I already explained sadhu in another video, but sadnoti sajayati cha krishna prem iti sadhu. When you found that pure devotee, then samyak rupain anugamana. Samyak means completely. So it means doing saranagati. So when you completely giving your heart, mind, body, words, intentions for service to that pure devotee, this is samyak, right? Anugamana. Anu means continuous, anu means following, and anu also means, anutva means humility. So with these three things, gamana means to go on a path or move. So the act of moving in such a way to follow continuously with great humility a pure devotee, this is called doing anugamana. So sadhu sangha, this is what it means. Samyak rupain anugamana. If you're doing this kind of association with a sadhu, then the fall, the fruit of that association will produce gradually, prema bhakti in the heart. Right? So hopefully this was helpful to answer this devotee's question, and also to explain why Srila Gurudev mentioned that if a person didn't get bhakti, it's because they did not want it. He wanted to point out that it's not simply a, what is it? Like just a mechanical thing. That I came in contact with a Vaishnava and now I should be able to get pure love of God. Right? No, there is a unpacking of the meaning of what it means to be in the association of a pure devotee. So my Dandavat Pranam. I apologize also, yesterday I think it was, or the day before yesterday, I was answering another question and somehow or another everything just muted out and it wasn't me and I didn't know what happened and I couldn't make the adjustments or fix it or whatever. But because I had answered the question, basically, I kept the video up. So, all right, my Dandavat Pranams, devotees. Vanchakalpa Turvischa Kripa Sindhavevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Radhe Radhe.